All right. Hello, everyone, and welcome back to my channel. I think my camera is a little tilted. It makes me look crooked. Gotta try to turn my head so I can look kind of straight, but a little awkward. But we ain't gonna worry about that. Welcome back. Welcome back. Thank you guys so much for being here with me, and for continuing to support and watch my reviews on this channel. So please like, subscribe, and hit that notification bell so that you can know whenever I am going to be posting a video about Real Housewives of Beverly Hills. So here we are, Real Housewives of Beverly Hills, season 11, episode 3. And this episode here had a lot of stuff to touch up on in there. So I'm just going to put that out there right now. I can see the ring light. Take these glasses off. So I have my notes, my handy dandy notebook. I like to use this to kind of help me out. So, fresh out the gate, the discussion of racism continues. We're still there with Kyle, Crystal, and Sutton. And Sutton, I believe it was Sutton who says, it was Crystal. No, Crystal said that whenever people say that they don't see color, that it's like brushing things under the rug. Like she feel like that's how people brush stuff under the rug. And Sutton was just saying like, I don't see color. I don't, she's a girl that don't see color, and she doesn't understand why that is an issue. So what I want to do in the beginning of this video is break down Helm's white racial identity development model. And the reason I want to do this is because I believe it'll be helpful for people to get a better understanding of white racial identity development and how they can be in certain stages that they may not understand. So they are in stages of what's called statuses, which reflect different levels of cognitive affective complexity and race-related experience. So in the beginning, the first stage is called contact. That is lack of racial awareness about self and others. You have a lack of racial awareness, so you are like, that's kind of like the I guess in a sense the racist. You have contact with the person, you don't really have any racial awareness about them, and you don't really too much care to know, and you kind of actively go against. Then the next stage is disintegration. That is when you have an increased awareness of racial difference. So an increased awareness of racial difference, and it leads to conflict. This leads to the conflict stage. Then you have what's called reintegration. Now, reintegration is whenever the conflicts are resolved, and it's resolved by adopting racist views of white superiority and minority inferiority. So this is whenever the white person kind of, is like, okay, well, white is better, that's all that matters. But then they still feel like there's something's not right about that. So they move into what's called pseudo-independence. Now, pseudo-independence is where they begin to question their racist views. Their racist behaviors, thoughts, actions, things they begin to question. Then we have what's called immersion, which replaces racist myths with accurate information, and it explores the possibility of non-racist white identity. So that's never this like, okay, well, for instance, like black people are animals, black people are unruly, or all Asian people are this, or all Mexican people are that, right? It's whenever they confront these myths and knock them out. And then you have what's called autonomy, which is internalizing whiteness without racist beliefs and practicing equal and equitable values across racial interactions. So, Sutton, honestly, had to breathe on. To me, I honestly believe Sutton is at reintegration, where it's almost kind of like white superiority and minority inferiority. And I'm not trying to say that she's a racist person. I just think that she's stuck in that stage of the white racial identity development. Like, Crystal is sitting here sharing her experience, and you say to her that you want to, like, basically, no, we're not going to talk about that. We're not going to talk about it. So you're trying to say that your view, your comfort, your level of, I guess comfort in this moment, your level of comfort is more important than hers, that's not fair. That's not fair, and that's not a good way to look at this. And Sutton, you literally adopted that. You just kind of like, done, over, finito. We not gonna deal with this. And that's not how that works. And then you got upset because she called you out on it. It's really, in a sense, dismissive to say that you do not see color. Because when you say you don't see color, you're saying you don't see my struggle. And if you don't see my struggle, that means that you allow my struggle. And not only do you allow my struggle, you contribute to the struggle. That's the issue, Sutton. The issue is not that you want to be fair. The issue is that you're saying, I don't see color. It's not relevant to me. That's not a thing. It is a thing. Because we're the ones, myself, people like Crystal, who are in the Asian community, people in the Latinx community, we're the ones who have to deal with it. So that's why it is an issue. That is why it is a concern. And you need to take the time to educate yourself, and educate yourself not just on minority concerns and issues, but on your own micro and macroaggressions. So do that. Kathy is comedic relief. Like, Kathy would have been out of my room. There's no way. There's no way you're gonna come up in my room and wake me up out of my sleep. Ain't Cal. You'd have been kicked out, probably cussed out, and I would have moved on my day. But Kathy is comedic relief. Really, really and truly, she's comedic relief in this show. It's almost like, okay, Kathy, I see why we need to sprinkle you in. So here we go. We back to Sutton and how she's talking about, she's not seeing color. We just go move on because it is what it is. They went rail riding, and that looked so fun. I would love to do that. I would probably more than likely be in a fast car. I could be a wuss sometimes, I'm not gonna lie. Like, I don't do heights, I don't do roller coasters, anything that's gonna turn me upside down. I don't care for it, but that I can do that. I don't mind a little fast extreme riding. That's fun. It's exhilarating. Pour something out of you. But Rena scream kills my ears. That ooh. I probably would have pushed her out the car. Those screams are just much fun. Oh, now this is was a good conversation there in the car. Crystal and Sutton are discussing kind of just their history with their parents. Garcelle is in the back sleeping. I didn't know there was an hour ride up there, so I see why Garcelle would take a nap. Crystal talks about Alzheimer's and her dad dying of Alzheimer's, and I just want y'all to know, like, she was not lying when she said it's a slow progression, and it's basically a slow death, and you see it. So yes, you can prepare yourself for it. Um, I'm not gonna say I almost wonder, but it almost begs the question of, is it easier for them to die faster, or for it to take a longer time? I remember my grandmother, she had I won't say she had dementia, but my grandmother, she was very ill, my paternal grandmother, and now her versus my maternal grandmother died suddenly in her sleep from a massive heart attack, so we were not at all prepared or ready. But my paternal grandmother, she passed away. I'm sorry, y'all. Okay, she passed away from I no one ever really talks about the cause of death, but it was a slow progression. Like, my grandma, it was hard watching her. I want to say she had dementia, or was it Alzheimer's? No, she had Alzheimer's. She had Alzheimer's. But anyway, seeing her like slowly just go, it was almost like dragging it out. And I was almost kind of like, just please let her die already. Not because I didn't want her there, but like, just please let her die, because I just didn't want her in any more pain. I didn't want her in that space anymore. I wanted her to just be at peace. And so that was the true reason behind it. And, although sad, it felt better um, to have her gone than not here, because I prefer not to see her in pain like that. So yeah, that is how it is. And the thing that crosses over from suicide and also Alzheimer's is the beginning of Alzheimer's there's this uh, very very high sense of depression, and in suicide there's depression as well. The thing is with suicide, you have to be cautious. You have to be aware. You have to pay attention to what people are doing. Like, if you notice that certain things have changed in your friends, and that they're not doing things like they used to anymore, you recognize that they're starting to give everything away. If they are saying that they just don't find joy and stuff anymore, they don't understand the point of doing certain things, then you really need to check in on those people because they have a higher risk of suicide. Now, the best prediction of suicide completion is previous suicide attempts. So it would be interesting to know if there were any suicide attempts prior to that. But men are more successful at suicide because they use more lethal means of performing the act than women. Women primarily utilize medication. They primarily go to overdose. Men, 9 times out of 10, go by shooting, by using firearm. So, just a little tidbit. But also, when you want to look at teenagers, Native American teenagers are actually the ones who are at higher risk of suicide than other teenagers. Um, oh, real quick tip though. Sutton's black confessional look is her best look. That's the best look I've seen that she's had so far. Outside of the dinner look, she actually looked pretty nice on the dinner look, but a lot of Sutton stuff is just, yeah. They get back to the house. Kathy put eardrop in her eyes. She's messing up her eyes even more. Like, Kathy, you gonna mess up your cones, your retina, your occipital-temporal area. Like, you finna mess some stuff up. Like, Kathy needs bifocals. I just said regular glasses at first. Kathy needs those Coke bottles. Like, Kathy, you need some glasses. Kathy cannot see. I don't even think she can hear. Like, Kathy needs some. Kathy needs to go to the doctor. You are Kathy again. You are Kathy Hilton. I don't understand why you don't have the best doctors in the planet. On the planet, I mean. Like, Kathy. Look now, if all those is funny for a lot of stuff, but Kathy, golly, sister, please, please, I'm gonna need you to go to the doctor immediately, and not this kind of doctor. I'm a psychologist. I don't do all that, but you need to go to a medical doctor because you need some serious help. Really, like you really need help, Kathy. Please go get it. Physical help. Go get the help. We're on the deck. Everyone's talking. They're talking about how much Sutton slippers cost. Them ugly slippers cost $2,000. Sutton will spend money on anything with a label. On anything with a label, Sutton will spend money on it. That does not make sense. When I just think about so much of it, I'm like, $2,000 for some slippers that's ugly because that's a name. Again, Sutton, I have student loans. I promise you, if you want to make a donation, I will gladly accept. It will not be going towards and it will not go to something that is not worthy. Sutton, please, I'm here to accept your money. Paris Hilton. So Garcelle brings up how she viewed her perspective of Paris whenever she was first meeting Paris at gatherings. And this brings up an important point for social anxiety. A lot of people have social anxiety and they utilize their phones and other devices to help them. And the thing is, a person with social anxiety, they may be in a social situation for a brief moment, then they have to kind of either zone into something else or get out. Usually they have to get out. Usually folks with phobias, if I'm not mistaken, they're able to be with someone they feel safe with and be okay. But with social anxiety, if I'm not mistaken, they usually have to just go. Like they can't take it at all. And the thing is, I respect Garcelle for being open and honest. But I could feel the cringiness in Kyle, and probably more than likely Kathy, because that's her daughter. Now Kyle said that she was happy that her and Garcelle patched up because This was the second time Garcelle spoke about someone in her family. I don't know if I missed it. I don't remember Garcelle talking about someone else in her family outside of Cal herself. When she called Cal out on the racial microaggression. So I'm not sure if I missed it. If I missed it, please drop down and let me know so that I can touch up. I don't remember her doing any of that. But also, she wasn't judging Paris. She was just saying, hey, this was my experience of her. And a lot of times people take folks' experience as judgments. My experience of you is not a judgment of you. My experience of you is just how I perceived you, how my interaction with you went. Me judging you is basically taking something that you have done and utilizing it to target you and like kind of talk down on you. A judgment is Paris is a judgment. A judgment is Paris is so sadidi. Paris is so uppity. Like she's in events and she's all on her phone. Like she's just the best thing walking, and she's not. That's a judgment. Now, like, oh my God, I could not stand Paris in the beginning when I first met her because she was always on her phone, and I was just like, why are you here? That's not a judgment. That's an observation, and that's an experience. Difference. Garcelle and Rena come down early, getting ready to go to dinner. Everybody think of like leather, like a leather and something. Um, they awkward. They talking about the weather, the beans, but that makes sense. I mean, they're not really on talking terms or anything. So it is funny watching them all get dressed without their glam squad. Erica looked the most plain without her. I mean, I don't even know if she had makeup on. I don't want to say she had makeup on, or she did. It was very, very like you could tell a lot of them don't know how to do their makeup the way their makeup artists can do the makeup. It was interesting. Now y'all know what all them people got to do. So maybe, pick up a couple tips classes to help yourself out when they're not there, just to give you a little piece of something. But understand. But everyone looked actually halfway decent for the dinner. I actually didn't mind everyone's looks. Crystal looked kind of threw me off the top, the little things, but it wasn't too bad. Everyone was kind of decent. So they're at the table, and I want to say Sutton is the one that brought up the whole, oh my God, we had a rough, like, she's talking about Crystal like Crystal is not like literally like right there. They're literally acting like they're sitting so far apart, like, girl, right there. And we're going to talk about the other night. And she feels like, oh, Erica, you being from the South, I'm pretty sure people always thought you were racist. She's like, no. And I appreciated the white girls checking her. I loved it. I loved it because look, that's not the case, Sutton. It is not the fact that you're from the South that people think that you're racist. I'm from Mississippi. I know plenty of white people that are racist, and I know plenty that are not. I have worked in a setting in DC where I was literally removed from the site, all because a white woman said she did not feel comfortable. Well, actually, a white woman said that she felt threatened while working with me, even though we didn't work on the same day. And I was removed. But that did not shape my experience or my vision or my view of all white people. I do not think all white people are racist, and just because you're from the South, it doesn't make you racist. Suddenly, it's your action. It's the things you say. Literally, the fact that Crystal was explaining her experience and you cut her off, that's an action. That is what will make you look more racist than not. Like, so I just want you to take that and really ingrain that in your mind and get that understanding. It's not that you're from the South. And I was happy that they was calling her out. And that I like Dorit's point. Maybe you have not been in multicultural settings. And she's like, no. So now she's all offended because she's lived in New York and she's lived in London and all those places. Just because you lived in a place does not mean, let me say that one more time. Just because you lived in a place does not mean that you were in multicultural circles. Suddenly you married an old white man with money. I'm pretty sure you were not in many multicultural circles. The top 1% is primarily white. Not saying black people are not there, not saying Asians out there, not saying Hispanics out there, but it's majority white. So I highly doubt you spent a lot of time in multicultural settings. Just saying something, just want to put that out there. So you need to rework that. But here she go again. They're having a joke, and here goes Sutton, thinking everyone is defending her. And I'm not in on the prank, so it is rude. And this, no, it's not, girl. If it's a prank, everyone is not supposed to know about it. They actually tried to include you in on the prank when they said, "Hey, Sutton, do you want one?" They tried to include you in on the joke. You the one who turned it down and said no. You don't want to be a part of it. So it is what it is, Sutton. It is what it is. Like, she literally took a moment and just crying and crying and crying. Girl, calm it down, calm it down, calm it down, calm it down. I just Sutton really aggravated me this whole episode. Literally, the fact this victim mentality is literally what she did. You, what we would call white woman tears. That's what you did. What we call gaslighting. That's what you did. What we call microaggressions. That's what you did. What we call white privilege. That's what you utilize. All of that sudden, I mean, every bit of it you used in this one episode. And Kyle, you not too far off my list because you kind of co-sign some of that stuff, which now puts you in line with it too. Like you have to, but you know what? This show was primarily with just white women at first. They literally got a black girl on there now and an Asian who could kind of check them here and there about this type of stuff. So I ain't gonna say that they gotta learn, and I'm not gonna say that they don't know what they're doing. But what I was is I'm happy that people out there to kind of call it out, and I'm happy that I'm doing these reviews so that I can bring a different perspective to kind of bring a little psychological piece to it. But all in all, Kathy is fun. I like the prank. The prank was cool. Um, and then of course it ended with Sutton, being a victim again, and Crystal is on the phone with her homegirl, talking about how Sutton is doing too much, which I agree. So that's Real Housewives of Beverly Hills. I hope you all enjoyed the review. I am liking doing this, and it's pretty fun. I had to sit closer to my couch and stuff today because they're doing construction in my place, so everything's kind of all over. But I don't know. I might make this my permanent seat. Who knows? But I'm looking forward to seeing you all again next week, and I hope you all enjoy the rest of your day. Goodbye.